Chosen one, I need you to stop what you are doing and take a deep breath right now. Drop your shoulders and let your racing mind completely settle on my voice, because you have been carrying a heavy tension in your body for days now. And I know exactly why you are feeling this crushing mental exhaustion. Someone you cared about deeply has simply vanished from your life without a single word. You keep picking up your phone. You unlock the screen, even though you know deep down there is no new notification waiting for you. You open the messages just to stare at that empty space beneath your last text. You are quietly hoping to see those little typing bubbles suddenly appear, but the screen stays completely still while the silence begins to feel incredibly loud in your empty room. Then, your mind starts playing terrible tricks on you. You begin replaying your last conversation in your head over and over again. You analyze every single word you said to them while searching for the exact moment you made a fatal mistake. You wonder if you were too demanding or maybe too emotional, and you are desperate to find a logical reason for this sudden and painful coldness. Sometimes the internal pressure builds up so much that you decide to finally act. You type out a massive message explaining your hurt feelings and begging for some clarity. You pour your entire heart into that text because you just want them to understand your pain, but right before you press send, you freeze completely. You delete the whole thing. You are terrified they will just ignore you again. Being left in the dark like this is a very unique and isolating kind of pain. It feels like you are trapped in a small room with no doors and no windows. The deep restlessness clinging to your spirit is there because you are trying to read a book that is missing its final page. You are desperate for a proper ending. You wanted a simple goodbye or at least an honest explanation for their departure. As a chosen one, you love with a very rare and profound sincerity. When you connect with someone, you give them a safe space to be completely authentic. And because you are so willing to communicate openly, you expect the exact same level of maturity in return. That is why their sudden withdrawal feels like a physical blow to your chest. You simply cannot comprehend how someone could just walk away. But they gave you absolutely nothing to work with. And this profound emptiness makes you automatically turn the heavy blame inward. You start to believe their silence is a direct reflection of your personal worth. You think that if you were truly important, they would have given you the basic respect of a final conversation. You convince yourself that you are simply not enough for them. You are looking at this situation completely backwards. The truth is that their sudden distance is not an accident or a punishment for your behavior, and you did not find this message by mere chance today. Heaven brought you here to stop you from begging for answers from someone who cannot give them, so you do not need to keep waiting for an apology that might never arrive. You can take your emotional power back right now. In the next few minutes, I am going to hand you the closure compass. I will reveal the 3 exact behavioral patterns that explain why people run away into silence. You will finally understand what their absence truly says about their current emotional capacity, and you will see why it proves absolutely nothing about your inherent value. This knowledge is going to change everything for you. But I am not just going to give you spiritual theory today. I am going to give you a very specific 2-step process to close this painful chapter yourself. You will learn how to create your own emotional closure without ever needing them to speak another word. You have the divine authority to lock this door from the inside, and you just need the proper tools to do it right. Do not click away from this message. If you leave early, you will stay trapped in that dark cycle of waiting and wondering forever. Stay with me until the very last word is spoken. Your peace of mind is far too valuable to leave in the hands of someone who walked away, and you are about to completely break the heavy chains of their silence. You think they went silent because you were not good enough? It is time to completely overturn that painful lie. The real reason they vanished without a trace is something you probably never expected. Right now you are carrying a terrible weight that does not belong to you. You have taken their quiet absence and turned it into a loud judgment against your own soul. You tell yourself that you must have done something incredibly wrong, and you truly believe that your actions alone drove them away. But you are believing a completely false narrative today. When a chosen one faces an unexplained ending, Their first instinct is always to look inward. You analyze your own perceived flaws. You convince yourself that you are just too sensitive or too much to handle. You assume that your intense depth finally scared them away, and you quietly decide that their departure is entirely your fault. You are acting as your own judge and jury in a trial where you committed absolutely no crime. But let me reframe your entire reality right now. Their silence is not a punishment for your personality, and it is definitely not a grand statement about your overall lovability. You need to hear this profound truth and let it settle deep into your spirit. Their silence is simply data. It is absolutely not a verdict. A verdict is a final ruling on your worth as a human being. It tells you that you are fundamentally flawed and unlovable. But data is just neutral information about a specific situation, and it only reveals facts about the person who is creating that exact silence. This silence is providing you with vital information about their current emotional capacity. It shows you exactly where their internal limits are located right now. It demonstrates their inability to navigate uncomfortable conversations, and it proves that they currently lack the tools to process complex endings with basic grace and maturity. This does not automatically make them a toxic monster or a terrible villain in your personal story. People often shut down simply because they are carrying heavy internal burdens that they cannot articulate. They might be completely paralyzed by their own unhealed wounds, but their inability to speak clearly does not mean you are unworthy of being spoken to. You offered them a profound level of connection. You invited them into the deep waters of genuine intimacy, but you cannot force someone to swim in the deep end if they have only ever known the shallow water. Their decision to retreat to the shore is entirely about their own comfort zone, and it has nothing to do with the beauty of your ocean. Your sensitivity is a beautiful radar. Your emotional depth is a rare and powerful gift in a world that often prefers surface-level interactions. You did not ruin this connection by simply being your authentic self. You were brave enough to show up with an open heart, while they were simply too overwhelmed to meet you in that vulnerable space. You must stop translating their quiet retreat into evidence of your own inadequacy. You do not need to shrink yourself to fit into the empty spaces they left behind. A chosen one does not need to beg for basic communication. You deserve someone who can match your level of emotional honesty without running away when things get slightly difficult. The heavy mystery of what their silence means about your worth is officially solved today. It means absolutely nothing about you. You are completely released from the burden of carrying their unspoken words as your personal failure. You can finally lay that heavy baggage down on the ground, and you can take a full breath of fresh air. You see, the closure compass removes all the painful guesswork from your racing mind. It strips away the emotional confusion and leaves you with clear and undeniable facts. When you can categorize their behavior objectively, the silence completely loses its haunting power over you, and you finally stop seeing it as a rejection to start seeing it as a simple reality. To truly stop hoping for their return, you need to understand the hidden mechanics of their retreat. You need a reliable system to decode the exact nature of their absence. This compass will help you map out their behavior so you can finally stop wandering in the dark. You are about to learn the 3 specific patterns of the closure compass. If you have ever been left with a silence you could not explain, and you are ready to stop blaming yourself, simply write, "I choose clarity" in the comments right now. You are making a powerful declaration to the universe today. The first pattern of the compass explains why people who once shared deep conversations suddenly choose to vanish. You finally have the clarity that this silence is not your fault. Now we must dive into the very first pattern of the closure compass. This is the pattern of simple emotional avoidance. It is incredibly confusing when someone who used to share their deepest thoughts suddenly builds a massive wall. You remember those late-night conversations where everything felt so profound and real? You trusted their depth because they seemed so emotionally available at the time. But talking about hopes and dreams is entirely different from navigating conflict or ending a connection. It takes a very specific kind of maturity to sit down and honestly say that something is not working anymore. Most people simply do not possess that level of emotional courage today. This brings us to the core of the avoidance pattern. They are not plotting a cruel scheme to punish you or make you suffer. They simply lack the emotional vocabulary required to process an ending with grace. When faced with the heavy discomfort of a final conversation, their nervous system completely panics. Their flight response takes over and they just run away. Their silence is actually an act of desperate self-protection. They are shielding themselves from the guilt of disappointing you. We are not trying to read their hidden thoughts or guess their secret motivations right now. We are only looking at the undeniable behavior they presented to you. And their behavior shows a profound inability to handle heavy emotional weight. They might have genuinely cared about you when things were easy and light, but caring about someone is very different from having the maturity to honor them when the season changes. When a connection requires maintenance or a proper closing, the avoidant person completely shuts down. They would rather vanish into thin air than look you in the eyes and admit their own shortcomings. As a chosen one, you are naturally equipped to face difficult truths head-on. You would rather hear a painful reality than be left in a comfortable illusion. So you naturally assume that everyone else operates with that same level of bold integrity. But you cannot judge their silent retreat using your own high standards of communication. They are simply not built exactly like you. This realization brings a strange sense of comfort and absolute clarity. You finally see that you were asking a person with no tools to build a sturdy house. You were expecting a beautifully articulated goodbye from someone who barely knows how to process their own feelings. Their retreat is a massive reflection of their inner limits, and it has absolutely nothing to do with you. Once you recognize the avoidance pattern, the silence loses its heavy grip on your soul. You no longer need to analyze your last text message for imaginary mistakes. You do not have to wonder if they secretly hate you or if they are plotting a dramatic return. You just accept that they reached the absolute edge of their emotional capacity and they stopped walking. You must understand that closure does not always sound like an apology or a tearful conversation. Sometimes closure sounds exactly like complete silence. Their inability to send one final message is the most honest answer they could ever give you. It proves that they are not currently capable of holding the deep emotional space that your vibrant spirit requires to truly thrive. This is exactly how you begin to find your own solid ground again. You observe their actions objectively without adding a dramatic story to their absence. You see the silent wall they built, and you choose to walk away instead of knocking on it forever. You give them the grace of their limitations, while giving yourself the profound respect of continuously moving forward. You have successfully decoded the very first layer of their quiet departure. It is a powerful thing to finally look at an old wound and understand exactly why it happened. But human behavior is rarely a simple equation, and there is a deeper layer we must uncover today. Because what if their silence was not born from fear, but from something much heavier? Sometimes people do not run away because they are terrified of having a difficult conflict. Sometimes they simply freeze because their entire world is falling apart inside their own mind. But if they are not intentionally avoiding you and are just quietly breaking down, what does that mean for you? This is exactly where your beautiful compassion becomes a dangerous double-edged sword. You understand that some people simply run away from difficult conflicts, but your highly empathetic mind quickly starts making another set of elaborate excuses for them. You tell yourself that they are just going through a really tough time right now. You imagine they are dealing with intense work pressure or maybe some family drama. You are desperately trying to find a noble reason for their absence to soften the painful blow. You romanticize their struggle because it feels much better than feeling abandoned. This brings us directly to the second pattern of the closure compass. This is the pattern of profound emotional overload and uncertainty. Sometimes people do not vanish because they are actively trying to avoid a specific conflict with you. Sometimes they just completely freeze because their entire internal system has crashed under the heavy weight of their own life. They are entirely overwhelmed by circumstances they cannot control. They simply lack the healthy coping mechanisms to process their own daily reality. When a person experiences severe emotional overload, they enter a state of deep survival mode. They stop responding to texts because every single interaction feels like another heavy demand on their completely drained energy. They are not secretly plotting against you. They simply do not have the mental bandwidth to maintain any meaningful connection while they are trying to keep their head above the rough water. The silence is just a desperate attempt to conserve their last remaining drops of emotional strength. As a chosen one, your immediate instinct is to swoop in and help them carry that terrible burden. Your beautiful compassion tells you to wait patiently until their heavy storm finally passes. You leave your door wide open for them. You constantly excuse their bad behavior because you can clearly sense the heavy chaos inside their spirit. But this exact empathy is quickly becoming a very dangerous trap. You are confusing your profound capacity to love with a strict obligation to wait forever. You must learn to separate your deep compassion from your daily reality. You can absolutely understand their pain without sacrificing your own peace of mind. It is entirely possible to send them love from a safe distance while keeping your personal boundaries incredibly firm. Understanding exactly why someone is drowning does not mean you have to jump in and let them pull you completely under the water. You can give them grace for their silent struggle, but you must give yourself the profound respect of moving forward. Their emotional overload might explain their sudden silence, but it does absolutely not excuse their lack of basic respect toward you. You cannot pause your entire existence just because they are currently figuring out their own messy life. Your vibrant journey cannot become a permanent waiting room for someone else to finally heal their wounds. You have a massive destiny to fulfill in this world, and you simply cannot fulfill it while standing still waiting for a text message. You have to stop trying to be their ultimate savior right now. You are giving away massive amounts of your precious, energetic focus to someone who is not even present in the room. Every time you try to decode their hidden stress, you are actively abandoning your own beautiful path. You are putting their potential healing completely above your own undeniable need for clear communication today. It is time to gracefully call your vibrant energy back to your own physical body. So you must let them be overwhelmed in their own space. You release them to fight their quiet battles without your constant supervision. You stop sending those long paragraphs of support to a phone screen that never lights up with a reply. You simply step back and allow their silence to be their own heavy burden to carry. Their inability to handle life is their personal curriculum, and it is no longer your absolute responsibility to fix it or figure it out for them. You have now successfully mapped out two major patterns of the compass. You understand the cowards who run away, and you recognize the overwhelmed souls who just freeze under pressure. But there is one final pattern left to uncover, and it is the most difficult pill to swallow. Because what if they are not scared? And what if they are not overwhelmed at all? What if their sudden silence is a completely conscious and deliberate choice? We will look at that harsh reality in the next layer. But before we examine that final truth, you need to realize something profound about your own endless waiting. You have already understood their behavior, but there is a deeply hidden belief quietly holding you hostage right now. This internal barrier is not built by their silence, but by your own desperate need for an explanation. And it is time to completely break it down. You have seen the cowards who run away from simple conflict. You have also seen the overwhelmed souls who freeze under the crushing weight of their own lives. But now we must confront the third and final pattern of the compass. This is the pattern of deliberate distance. It is the most painful reality to accept, but it will finally set you completely free today. I know exactly what your mind is telling you right now. You are desperately fighting the urge to send them just one more message to fix the broken pieces. You think that if you phrase your words perfectly, they will finally understand your perspective and come back. You believe one magical text can somehow untangle this entire confusing mess. But you must stop typing immediately. There is a massive difference between taking a healthy pause and completely vanishing into thin air. When a mature person needs space, they communicate that boundary clearly. They tell you they are overwhelmed and ask for some time to process their chaotic thoughts. That is a respectful distance. But when someone simply drops the connection without a single word, that is absolute abandonment. You might try to convince yourself that they are just taking a break and will return soon, but a genuine break always comes with a clear timeline and a mutual understanding of respect. When they disappear without offering any explanation, they are actively choosing to sever the emotional tie. You cannot call it a temporary pause when the other person has completely left the building. You keep waiting for a clear answer today, but you are failing to realize something profoundly important about their quiet retreat. Their silent disappearance is the loudest and most definitive answer you could ever receive. They made a completely conscious choice to walk away from you, and they simply decided they did not want to maintain the beautiful connection you shared. This harsh truth does not necessarily make them an evil monster or a cruel villain. It just means they prioritized their own comfort over giving you basic human decency. They chose the absolute easiest way out of a demanding dynamic. You must accept their quiet choice without trying to forcefully drag them back into a conversation they clearly want to avoid. You have to let them go. Sending another long message will not suddenly awaken their missing empathy. It will only drain your precious energy and leave you feeling even more empty than before. You cannot negotiate with a ghost who refuses to show up at the table. Your dignity is worth so much more than a forced reply from someone who chose to ignore your bleeding heart. A chosen one does not chase people who willingly create distance. Your vibrant light is meant to be shared with those who deeply appreciate its beautiful warmth. When you constantly reach out to a silent wall, you are basically begging for emotional crumbs from someone who cannot feed you. You are lowering your own high frequency just to match their profound inability to communicate properly. You now hold the complete closure compass in your hands. You can clearly see the frightened avoiders and the overwhelmed souls and the deliberate abandoners. You no longer need to spend sleepless nights trying to decode their mysterious silence. The compass points directly to their limits and firmly proves that their absence has absolutely nothing to do with your innate worth. The silence is no longer a dark shadow hovering over your vibrant life. It is simply a closed door that you no longer need to frantically knock on. You can finally step away from the porch and walk back into the warm light of your own beautiful existence. You are no longer waiting for a person who forgot how to value your presence. But how do you practically stop yourself when the urge to reach out hits you at midnight? How do you know for sure that it is truly time to permanently close the door? There is a highly effective 3-question test that will help you evaluate any confusing silence, and this simple test will give you the exact boundaries you need to finally protect your peaceful energy. You finally understand exactly who they are and why they left, but there is a massive internal barrier that is still preventing you from moving forward today. This hidden obstacle is not created by their painful silence at all, because it is built entirely by a quiet belief deep inside your own mind, and this heavy barrier is keeping you completely trapped. And here is the part that no one really wants to hear. I say this to you with absolutely nothing but love today. The thing that is quietly blocking your breakthrough right now is not their silence anymore. It is a deeply rooted belief inside your own mind. You have convinced yourself that you cannot be truly free until they finally return and give you a perfectly logical explanation for their sudden absence. You believe that their words hold the magical key to your emotional release. You tell yourself that if you just knew the exact reason why they left, you could finally pack up your feelings and properly move on. But this is the exact lie that keeps you trapped as a hostage today. You are essentially handing the keys to your own peace over to a person who already abandoned the entire building. Please understand that this is not an accusation against you. This is simply the diagnosis that will finally set you free. You are holding on to the pain because it feels like the last remaining thread connecting you to them. You think that demanding an answer keeps the relationship somewhat alive in the background. But waiting for their closure is just building a prison out of your own beautiful hope. I want you to think about the story of Job for a moment. Job lost absolutely everything he cherished in a matter of days. His world was completely shattered without any warning. And for a very long time, he sat in the ashes demanding a clear explanation from heaven. He wanted a neat and logical breakdown of exactly why all this terrible suffering had to happen to his innocent life. But heaven never handed Job a detailed spreadsheet explaining the reasons behind his pain. He never received the line-by-line justification he was desperately crying out for. Instead of getting a perfect answer, Job simply found his internal grounding again. He recovered his own profound presence. He realized that his peace could not depend on understanding every single detail of the sudden tragedy. You are sitting in the ashes of this connection right now. You are waiting for a voice to come down and explain the sudden ending to you. But just like Job, your ultimate restoration will not come from receiving a neat explanation. Your restoration comes the exact moment you decide to stand up from the ashes and reclaim your own spiritual authority. You do not need their words to validate your healing. Their explanation would not change the reality of their absence anyway. Even if they came back today and told you exactly why they left, it would not erase the fact that they were capable of walking away. It would not suddenly make them a reliable partner for your vibrant destiny. A chosen one must learn to find complete closure in the simple reality of what actually happened between you two. You have been treating their unresolved exit like a massive debt they still owe you. You feel cheated out of a proper ending, so you refuse to close the account until they finally pay you back with a decent apology. But waiting for a bankrupt person to pay an emotional debt will only keep you permanently impoverished. You have to forgive the debt to free yourself. You have to completely cancel it right now. The silence is all the explanation you will ever need from them. When you finally accept this harsh but beautiful truth, a massive weight instantly lifts off your chest. You stop waiting for a ghostly text message to dictate your daily mood. You take your power completely back from their invisible hands. You realize that closure is an inside job, and it always has been from the very beginning. You are no longer waiting for their exact reasons. You are learning to live fully from your own undeniable clarity today. The hidden belief that you need their permission to heal is entirely shattered right now. You are ready to close this agonizing chapter without their direct participation. But to make this real, you have to take one final step to actively seal this profound realization in your spirit. Coming up next, I am going to give you the exact tools you need to finish this process. I will show you the two-step unwritten letter ritual that will permanently sever this draining emotional cord. This simple but powerful practice will help you physically release the need for their answer. Let this profound truth settle deeply into your bones first, because you are about to step into your complete freedom. You have analyzed their silence, and you have confronted your own hidden beliefs. Now it is time to physically break the invisible chain connecting you to their ghost. You feel completely powerless because they hold the final puzzle piece to your story. But you are about to take that missing piece directly out of their hands today, and you do not need their permission to finally end this exhausting chapter. Before we cut the cord completely, you must evaluate their silence with a simple test. There are 3 vital questions you must ask yourself right now. First, did they show any willingness to resolve a conflict before they vanished? Second, is waiting for their message actively stopping you from living your vibrant life today? And third, are you sacrificing your own peace of mind for someone who refuses to offer you even basic closure? If the answer to these questions is yes, then their absence is not a mystery. It is a highly destructive cycle that you are actively allowing into your sacred space. You cannot afford to keep bleeding your precious energy into a bottomless well. A chosen one must fiercely protect their spiritual boundaries at all costs, and you have to draw a hard line in the sand right now. This brings us to the 2-step unwritten letter ritual. This is exactly how you create closure without ever needing them to participate in the process. First, I want you to get a physical piece of paper and write down the brutal truth. You will write out every single thing their sudden silence made you feel, and you will not hold back any anger or any deep sorrow. You write down exactly how their inability to communicate deeply damaged your beautiful trust. You pour out the entire heavy burden onto that blank page until your chest finally feels light. Then comes the second and most important step of this entire profound process. You will sign the letter with a firm declaration of your boundary, and you will absolutely never send it to them. You do not send it because they do not deserve your deep vulnerability anymore. This letter is not a desperate plea for their delayed understanding. It is a powerful eviction notice that forces their haunting ghost out of your sacred mental space today. You are permanently closing the account and officially cancelling their emotional debt, so they are absolutely done occupying your mind. When you tear that letter into tiny pieces, you are doing something profoundly healing. You are physically demonstrating to your nervous system that the painful waiting period is officially over. And as you watch those torn pieces fall away, the heavy anxiety that kept you checking your phone will instantly evaporate from your tired body. You are finally safe to rest. And now comes the pivotal moment where everything completely shifts for you. This is the critical juncture where you officially take your beautiful power back. I want you to stop whatever you are doing and sit up completely straight. Place your hand firmly over your heart to feel the steady rhythm of your own undeniable life force, because you are going to declare this truth out loud with me right now. I release the desperate need to be perfectly understood by everyone who walks away. I completely release every single agreement I ever made with smallness or endless waiting. I step into my divine assignment, knowing that my peaceful closure comes directly from within my own spirit. My breakthrough is not waiting for a missing text message to finally arrive today. My breakthrough is already living and breathing right here inside my chest. I choose to see their painful silence as a reflection of their own absolute limits. It is definitely not a reflection of my inherent worth or my capacity to love deeply. I am walking forward knowing that I am chosen, I am prepared, and I am entirely whole without them. Just let that massive declaration settle deeply into your weary bones. You are officially severing the invisible tie that kept you looking backward for so long. You do not need to check your empty screen or replay old conversations ever again. The door is finally closed because you decided to lock it from the inside, and your beautiful spirit is entirely yours again. You are no longer a victim waiting in a cold room for someone to speak. You are the sole author of your incredible story, and you have just written a beautiful ending to a terrible chapter. You never needed their weak explanation to prove that your vibrant heart was always pure. Your clarity was quietly waiting for you this entire time. The dark storm is finally over. Your heavy anxiety has completely dissolved. You are no longer waiting for a ghostly text. The profound silence of that room is no longer a painful reminder of their sudden absence, because it has transformed into a beautiful sanctuary where your vibrant spirit can breathe. You are completely safe now. You have successfully reclaimed the pen to your own life story. The sad chapter where you played the confused victim is officially finished. You do not need them to return. You do not need their delayed apology to prove that your beautiful heart was always in the right place. A chosen one never begs for basic human respect from someone who willingly chose to walk away while you were desperately trying to build a solid connection. Everything you endured in this connection was not wasted. The sharp pain of their departure served a divine purpose. It forced you to look deep inside yourself. You discovered an unshakable foundation of pure self-worth that nobody can ever take away from you again, and this newly found strength will protect your heart forever. It taught you how to gracefully lock a door that someone else recklessly left wide open. You are the absolute chosen one. You were uniquely designed to carry a massive frequency of love, but you were never meant to pour that sacred water into a severely cracked cup. Their shocking inability to hold your emotional depth simply proves they were not built for your specific destiny. You are no longer the misunderstood soul begging to be truly seen. You are standing in the steady confidence of your absolute clarity. You do not need anyone to give you permission to completely heal. The quiet distance they created is no longer a heavy curse on your daily life. It is the exact divine protection you desperately needed to keep your beautiful energy completely pure and intact while you step into your highest purpose. You must consciously release every single agreement you made with endless waiting. You must permanently drop the heavy illusion that you are too much. The old version of you who desperately chased answers is completely dissolving right now. A totally new and powerful identity is being birthed from the cold ashes of their unexplained silence, and you are finally recognizing your own incredible value. Your magnificent breakthrough is not hovering somewhere in the distant future. It is not waiting for a specific calendar date to arrive. Your profound breakthrough is already here. It is already moving powerfully through your life right now. You can feel the steady calm settling deep into your weary bones, because you are exactly where you are supposed to be today. The exhausting season of desperate preparation is totally complete. You are definitely not the same fragile person who started watching this message. You are not meant to ever walk backward into a confusing situation you have outgrown. Your grand spiritual assignment officially starts right now, and tomorrow morning you are going to wake up feeling incredibly different and beautifully light. The painful wait is officially over because you are decisively ending it today. If you are choosing unbothered peace without chasing another empty explanation, I want you to go to the comments right now. Comment the exact words "I release the unanswered why" to publicly seal this truth. You are making a physical declaration that you are finally free from their heavy ghost. You are actively choosing your own dignity over their confusing absence. I want you to completely subscribe to this channel and turn on your notifications. We are building a powerful community of chosen ones who refuse to let the harsh world dull their bright light, and you belong right here with us. You need to keep grounding yourself in undeniable truth so you never fall back into that miserable trap. Please softly share this message with someone who has also been called too sensitive. There is someone out there who is desperately staring at a blank screen today. They need to hear this exact truth to finally break their own heavy chains. You have the absolute power to help them reclaim their stolen peace by simply passing this healing wisdom forward. You are perfectly whole right now. Your beautiful heart is entirely safe within your own chest again. Do not ever let a quiet coward convince you that your loud and sincere love is a terrible mistake. Walk forward with your head held high and your vibrant spirit completely untethered from their memory. You are eternally chosen, and your breathtaking journey is just beginning.